Hello, my name is Joe, and today we're going to play with transitioning through Tadasana. So, you can go ahead and come to standing near the top of the mat. Feet can be a comfortable distance width apart, lined up relatively with each other. Knees facing generally forward, second toes facing generally forward, knees tracking towards second toes or thereabouts. Shifting the weight forward and back a bit in your feet. Just coming to greater awareness of your feet. And eventually coming to a place that feels pretty balanced between the front and the back of the feet. Once you're in this place, you can wiggle the toes a little bit. Perhaps lifting your toes up and the muscles of your feet engaging or activating as you lift your toes up. Exhale, release. You can go ahead from here and pull the toes back towards your heels. And again, really feel those muscles of the feet engaging. Noticing your arches will lift up as you pull the toes back towards your heels. Release, wiggle your toes again. And then with your next inhale, you can lift your toes up, feel the arches engaging some here. Press down through any part of your foot that's not the toes or the arches, and maybe pull the front of the foot towards the back to see if you can really get those arch muscles to lift up. And just so you can feel and engage your arch muscles maybe separately. If it works for you, you can also spread the toes apart from each other, no worries if they don't move. And then you can lower the toes into the ground, pressing the toes into the earth. Try not to curl them under though so much, but lifting up through the arches. And just feel the feet nice and steady on the earth. Feel the leg muscles hugging into the bone, but the knee joint soft. Feel the muscles around the hips hugging in, including pelvic floor muscles lifting in and up. Feel the tops of the hips and back lifting in and up a little bit here. There's a natural arch and natural curve of the back here. Feel the lower ribs in front lifting in and up, core engaged to help protect the low back. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Head and neck stacked above the rest of the spine. Feel the breath flowing through you here and just anchor from the hips down through the feet into the floor. Breathe. And just letting yourself settle here. So feeling the air on the nostrils and letting the breath flow through you. The breath moving down through your windpipe and into your lungs. The lungs expanding out with your inhales and softening back in with your exhales. You can let the breath begin to lengthen and deepen, balancing out the inhales and the exhales. And with every exhale, feel this anchoring from the hips down through the feet toward the floor and just feeling the floor underneath your feet. With your inhales, feel expansion from inside out. So as the lungs expand, the torso inflates. And just feel in the fullness through the torso from inside out. Breathe. And let your awareness rest in the flow of the breath throughout this practice. And feel free to leave anything out that doesn't work for you. So just letting yourself fill yourself from inside out here. So those inhales that create that sense of fullness, let yourself fill yourself from inside out. And if something doesn't feel right for you, even if I say a lot of words, don't do this. This practice is about filling yourself and feeling supported on the floor underneath you. So breathe. We will start with a Om to come into the space. If you'd like to join in, I will exhale, inhale, and then Om. Exhaling. Inhale deeply. Continuing to feel connected to the breath and to the floor underneath you and the fullness of yourself from inside out. For your next exhale, you can release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale, lowering the arms back to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. And left hand can grab right wrist so you can lean over to the left. Inhale, back to center. Right hand, left wrist leaning to the right. Inhale, back to center. Left hand, right wrist, exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Right hand, left wrist, exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Left hand, right wrist, exhale to the left. Inhale up to center. Right hand, left wrist, exhale to the right. Inhale up to center. Interlace your fingers. Turn the palms away from you. Rest the hands on the back of your hands on your head. And just, again, connecting from the hips down to the feet into the earth, but feeling the softness to the knee joints, feeling stable here. And then pressing your head up into your hands, feeling the spine lifting up out of the hips a bit. And if you want to, you can extend the arms straighter towards the sky. They may not straighten all the way, that's fine. Press the palms up toward the ceiling. And then from here, if you like to, you can move the shoulders up towards the ears a little bit and move the shoulders away. You can move with your breath, or you can just move up and down a bit here, just getting some mobility in the shoulders. And you can also decide if you have a preference. So maybe you prefer the shoulders away from the ear, which tends to let you move the head and neck around a little bit and gives you some more space in the neck. Maybe you like the shoulders up towards the ears, which may feel a little bit like you're lengthening the low back out a little bit more. Maybe you like both. Breathe wherever you're at. And then exhale, releasing the arms to the sides. You can just roll the shoulders up and on the back. And roll the shoulders a little bit forward. And then coming back to this neutral Tadasana position, shoulders a little bit up and on the back, chest a bit lifted, pressing down for the feet into the earth. And just sway a little side to side from foot to foot. Let one foot get heavier and then the other. And then we're going to go ahead and sway over to the right foot, shift the weight to the right foot. And we're going to slide the left foot back. So sliding the left foot back, breathing here, noticing how this feels for you. And as you're ready, go ahead and bring this left foot back in. Shift your weight to your left foot, staying with your breath, and sliding the right foot back, breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then go ahead and bring the right foot back in. Shift your weight back to the right foot, slide the left foot back, and now lean a little bit forward at your hips, keeping your spine nice and long. Your arms can stay in line with your torso. And as you slide this foot back, maybe lean the torso a little bit further forward. Maybe those left foot just floats up off the ground. So maybe lifting the left foot a little bit here. And then go ahead and come back in. Shift your weight to your left foot, slide the right foot back. Maybe leaning a bit forward at your torso. Maybe the right foot floats up just a little bit off the ground here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then go ahead and bring that right foot back in. Slide your weight over to the right foot. Slide the left foot back. Nice, long spine. Leaning a little bit forward at the torso. Maybe that left foot lifts up. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breath. Maybe you bend the right knee a bit here. Notice what this feels like. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then coming back up and in. And shifting your weight over into your left foot, slide the right foot back, leaning forward at the torso. Maybe the right foot lifts up a little bit. Maybe you play with bending that left knee. Breathe. And then go ahead and coming back upright. And again, shifting the weight into the right foot. Slide the left foot back, leaning forward at the torso. Feel the breath moving through you. Maybe bending that right knee a little bit. Maybe moving that left foot a little bit further back. And then from here, bringing that left foot back down. Heel can be up or down, the left heel. And then bring your hands to your hips and perhaps level the hips out with each other. And what I mean by that is if you let the hips turn towards the left hip will stack on top of the right, which is also not a bad practice. So you could play with that for a moment. And then maybe turn the hips so they're level towards the ground. If your hips relatively level towards the ground, maybe start to lift the hips upright, coming into a warrior one, Virabhadrasana one variation. If you want to, you can stretch the arms alongside by the ears, breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then leaning back forward, shifting the weight back forward into that right foot, press down through that foot, step the left foot forward. Feel the breath moving through you, anchor from the hips down through the feet into the earth. Shift your weight into your left foot, leaning forward at the torso, slide the right foot back, maybe bend the left knee, maybe right foot goes a little bit further back, maybe you bring the right heel down, maybe not. Maybe you bring your hands to your hips and see if the hips are level. And perhaps you even do that by moving the hips out of level. So maybe you play with stacking for a moment the right hip on top of the left. But then maybe you go ahead and bring the hips back to level. And then from here, maybe tilting the hips or vertically or coming upright through the torso, only as much as feels good for you. Left knee tracking towards second toe, stacked approximately on top of the ankle. And then if you want to, arms can come up by your ears. Virabhadrasana one. Breathe. When you're in the pose, you might want to press down evenly through both feet and muscularly hug into your hips. Then when you want to come out of the pose, shifting the weight into the left foot, press down to that foot, step the right foot forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, taking a little pause here, anchoring down from the hips to the feet into the earth, but maybe feeling a lift through the arches of the feet. Breathe. And then we're going to continue this play. So exhale, lower the arms. Shift your weight into the right foot, leaning forward at the torso. Slide the left foot back, bending that knee. Maybe this time keep on going. So maybe see how far you can slide that left foot back. Right knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. And again, back heel, up or down, whichever feels better for you. Hands to your hips. Again, maybe feel the hips facing ground. Maybe level them out with each other. So you can stay here. You can bring your hands to the right knee. You can bring your forearms to the right knee. Breathing wherever you're at. If it's comfortable to get hands to blocks or ground, you can bring hands to blocks or ground. Either side of front foot or both inside of the front foot. And again, just playing with how far back the left foot goes while you're in the pose, pressing down through both feet, maybe hugging into the hips with a length in the spine. And then feel free to stay here if you want to. The left palm can come down, right hand to the right knee, turn the chest to the right, and perhaps lifting the right hand towards the sky. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then exhale, you can lower the right hand down to knee or to ground. Press down to that right foot. And then as you feel ready, go ahead and walk your hands back up to the right knee. And then you can go ahead, hands to hips, arms by the sides, leaning forward, hands on the knee. Press down to that right foot, slide, wiggle, scoot, step the left foot forward. Hands by the side, anchoring from the hips down to the feet to the earth. Feel the breath moving through you. Shift your weight into your left foot, sliding the right foot back, leaning forward with the torso, bending that left knee. Maybe see how far back you can go here. Back heel up or down though. When you feel ready, left knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe or thereabouts. Hands can come to the left knee. You can play with sliding that foot further back. If you want to stay in the forward fold and lean a bit more forward, you can bring hands, elbows to the knee instead. Level out your hips here, hips relatively facing towards the ground. Breathing here. And again, just cultivating a bit of stability, pressing down through your feet, hugging into your hips. And then from here, if you'd like to, right hand to come to the ground, left hand to the left knee, turning to the left. And if you'd like, the left hand towards the sky. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, left hand to knee or to ground, pressing down through the left foot, shifting the weight forward, slide, wiggles, actually, here. Left hand to left knee, right hand up. We'll do that in a moment. Then arms by the sides, press down to that left foot, or hands on the knee, or hands on the hips. And just as you're ready, right foot forward. Coming to standing, hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, feel the breath moving through you. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. And again, line your feet up with each other, a comfortable distance apart, knees facing forward, second toes facing forward. And then from here, maybe let your hips settle back over your heels a bit more. So perhaps there's a bit more weight in the back of your foot, top to the hips, where the leg bones meet the hips, that part back over your heels. So you might have to press down more through your toes. And then lengthen the spine out of the hips, press the hips down, stretch the spine long. With your knees a bit soft, start to tilt forward. Okay, as you breathe here, notice when your back wants to round. And in this place for a moment, just press the thighs or the hips back, lengthen the spine, let your knees be soft or bent. And then if it feels okay, keep on going. The back will gently round, but keeping some space in between the vertebrae of the spine as the back gently rounds. And then if you want, you can release the hands to lower on the legs or to the floor. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. After a few breaths here, as you root from the hips down to the feet into the earth, if you can keep some of the space in between the vertebrae and you want to, you can slowly lift your hips up higher, maybe straightening the legs a bit more. Breathe. And then as you're ready, hands to the hips, shoulders on the back, nice long spine, all the way up to standing. And again, perhaps taking several breaths and just noticing how the transition feels in your body. Then turn and face the side on your mat, the long end of the mat. Come over to the left so you have a lot of space on the right. And again, come into a Tadasana here, so standing. And then lining your feet up, knees and toes facing forward. Okay. Inhale, open your hands into a T. Exhale, lower the arms back down. The next time we inhale and open the hands into a T, what I want you to do with your knee soft is step your right foot way to the right. So inhale, hands to a T, step your right foot to the right. Exhale, come back to Tadasana, stepping the left foot to the right. Inhale, hands to a T, left foot goes to the left. Exhale, right foot goes to the left. Okay, we're gonna do this 3 times, so 2 more each direction. Inhale, opening up to the right. Exhale, standing over to the right. Inhale, opening to the left. Exhale, standing. Inhale, open to the right. Exhale, standing. Inhale, open to the left. Okay, stop here. Lining your feet up with each other. Here are comfortable, actually wide, and engaging. So hugging in from your feet to your hips. Wide is relative. Someplace you feel stable, but someplace it feels like your legs are working to hold you is a good idea. Traditional classes will often say with your hands into a T position, feet underneath your wrists or thereabout. But if that doesn't work for you, go smaller. So again, feel someplace that you feel like you can move and breathe. From here, again, maybe hands on your hips, toes and knees facing generally forward, perhaps settling the tops of the hips where the leg bones connect back over the heels, and just hugging in from your feet to your hips. And then from here, if you'd like to, you can turn the right toes towards the left toes all the way out, hips opening still towards the long end of the mat, but only as much as comfortable. What I mean by that, when you turn the left toes to the left, your hips might turn a little bit to the left. That's okay. That action is you're turning the hips to face the long end of the mat, but only as much as feels good for your low back and hips. Okay, left knee tracking towards second toe. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Press down through your hips, feel the spine lengthening up, and then maybe floating the hands back into a T. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Perhaps looking over the left fingers here. Feel super, super free to stay here. Or you can lean into the left hip, left hand or left forearm onto the left leg, gently pressing the knee open. You want to right hand toward the sky or alongside by the ears. Breathing here, Parsvakonasana variation. Nice full deep breaths. And again, while you're in the pose, perhaps trying to press down evenly through both feet and muscularly hug into your hips. When you feel ready, perhaps tilting the torso back upright, looking over the left fingers, and then hands back to the hips. Turn the left toes in towards the right a little bit, right toes out, and again, hips generally opening to face the long end of the mat, but not forcing that. So if your hips are turning, you notice a little bit towards the narrow end of the mat, that's fine. Action versus 4. Right knee tracking towards second toe. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Press down to the hips, feel the spine lifting up. If you want to, hands can float up to a T, and you can turn your gaze and look over the right fingers. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Breathe. Both hips and feet, both feet nice and stable on the earth, and your leg muscles also hugging towards the bone. Breathe. Leaning into the right hip, maybe right forearm on the leg. Feel free to stay here or left arm toward the sky or alongside by the ears. Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Nice full deep breaths. And then as you're ready, tilting the hips back upright, warrior 2. Hands back to the hips, turn all 10 toes to face the long end of the mat. Knees a bit soft, inhale, lengthen. Start to tilt forward. And again, taking a few breaths, so no rush or hurries. And maybe just noticing the spot where your back wants to round. And it's fine if it rounds, but just making sure there's space. You can keep on going, lifting the hips up however high works for you. Legs can stay bent or you can straighten them. And then once you're wherever feels comfortable for you, you can lower hands to legs or the floor. Breathe. Press down to your feet, hugging into your hips. And with stability, if you want to, hands back to the hips. Nice long spine all the way back to standing. Nice full, deep, complete breaths. With your knees soft, heel toe your feet in, shake it out. And turning and facing back towards the narrow end of the mat. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Feel the breath moving through you. Anchor from the hips down through the feet into the earth. And then with your next exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Legs bent or straight. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to legs or the floor. Back can stay extended if that's better for you, or gently round it. And then if you did let the back round, you can inhale, slide the hands up the legs, lengthening a bit through the spine. Exhale, slide down and fold in. Press down to the feet, nice long spine. Arms come wide, reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, arms back to the sides. Breathing deeply, anchoring from the hips down through the feet into the earth. Swaying a little side to side from foot to foot. And then shifting the weight a bit into your right foot when you feel ready. And sliding that left foot back, leaning forward, bending the right knee. And seeing how far back that left foot might go here. Right knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. Back heel can be down here if that feels better for you. Although for hip purposes, sometimes back heel up is a little bit easier on the hips. It is more challenging for balance, so again, up or down. Then from here, with that nice long spine, start to play with tilting your hips upright, but only as much as feels good for you. Coming up right through the torso, maybe even lifting a little bit through the chest. And then if you want to, arms alongside by the ears. This is often with a back heel lifted called crescent lunge or Virabhadrasana 1 prep, but maybe a little wider stance than the warrior one we did earlier. Again, if that doesn't work for you, shorter stance from front to back is fine. And then leaning back forward, press down to that right foot, and slide, wiggle, scoot, step the left foot forward. And you can always bring your hands to your knees. Okay. Arms along the side, standing up nice and tall. Tadasana, shift the weight over into your left foot. Start to slide the right foot back, tilting the hips, bending the left knee. And again, maybe seeing how far back you can slide that foot. Left knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. Breathing here. I'm playing with spinning my palms up towards the sky for a moment, which changes my shoulder stretch. So I'm lifting my shoulders up after I do that. You don't have to do that. I'm just playing with that right now. And then maybe tilting the hips upright, seeing how that feels. Only as upright as works for you. Maybe curling the chest a bit towards the sky. But again, only as much as feels good for you, especially through the low back and your hips. Notice what those feel like. And also the left knee. And adjusting things as you need to. Breathe. Virabhadrasana 1 prep, but maybe a wider stance from front and back. Okay, lean back forward. Press down to that left foot. Right foot back in. And then first side, so shift your weight to the right foot, slide the left foot back. And again, going as far as works for you, so maybe working a little bit more now, maybe not though. Maybe again, turning the palms up to the sky if you'd like that adjustment. And I am going to bring the back heel down now. And so again, you might notice this is easier for balance, but you might notice when you do this, your hips try to turn into that warrior 2 position or Parsvakonasana position. So for most people, or for a lot of people, it takes more work here to keep your hips facing towards the ground or facing forward. And you don't have to force that. It's just a directional movement. So you're not trying to be perfect, it's just directional. And then again, maybe starting to tilt the hips up right here, maybe shoulders on the back, maybe seeing what things feel like for you. And if you want to, arms can come up, breathe, nice full deep breath, Virabhadrasana 1, but maybe wider from front to back than the first time. Okay, go ahead and lean back forward, press down to that right foot, slide, wiggle, scoot, step the left foot forward, shift your weight into the left foot, start to slide the right foot back, moving at the hips, nice long spine. Maybe they'll go as far back as works for you. Again, maybe turning the palms towards the sky, feeling the shoulders moving towards each other on the back. Maybe lowering the right heel down, but trying to keep your hips facing the ground. Trying to keep the left knee relatively on top of the ankle, and maybe starting to tilt the hips upright. But again, only as much as feels good for you. Spine lengthens, but there might be a little bit of a back bend here, a little arch in the back here. And again, only as much as works for you. Core engaged. Breathe wherever you're at. Enjoy the transitions. And then maybe arms up. Breathe. Nice full deep breaths. While you're in the pose, try to press down through both feet and muscularly hug into your hips. And then as you're ready, stepping, pressing down to that left foot, right foot forward. One more thing here. Shift your weight into the right foot. Sliding the left foot back, tilting at the hips. Arms along the sides. Actually, I'm going to move back further on the mat just so you can see this. Okay. So connecting down. Shift your weight to your right foot. Slide the left foot back, bending that knee. And then maybe lifting that foot up. And maybe keep your hips facing the ground. but seeing how high you can lift the foot up. Again, maybe turn the palms up to the sky. Maybe press up to the shoulders and lift your chest a little bit. Breathe, and if you're feeling really stable, arms alongside by the ears. Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana, 2, 3. And then go ahead, soften that standing knee if you did straighten it all the way. And you don't have to. Some people really like to keep the knee bent in Warrior 3. And then go ahead and make your way all the way back in. Shake it out a little bit. Second side. Shift your weight into your left foot. As you're ready, start to slide the right foot back, bending that knee. Palms can face up, shoulders on the back if that works for you. And then maybe floating that right foot up, keeping the hips facing down. And again, you can keep this left knee bent, lengthening, extending here, or you can straighten that left leg. Breathe. And if you're feeling really stable and you want to take the arms by the ears, Warrior 3, you can. Breathe. Sometimes, just so you know this, sometimes it's only arms by the ears or arms forward that's called Warrior 3. Sometimes this is called, I've heard this called variations of standing locust pose, basically. So sometimes this has another name, but it's still considered a pose, and it's a lovely pose. So do what works for you. Go ahead and soften. Come back up and step that right foot back forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Feel the breath moving through you. Anchor from the hips down through the feet into the earth. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Exhale and fold, legs bent or straight, hands to the legs or the floor. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Press down to the feet, nice long spine. Arms come wide, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Since this has been mainly a standing practice and we haven't really done any back bends, one, you can stop here. We've done a lot with the legs. So if you're feeling good and you just want to come back into Tadasana for a moment, anchor from the hips down to the feet to the earth, stand up nice and tall, and settle yourself here. This is a good pausing place, especially if back bends aren't for you, and back bends aren't for everyone. But if you'd like a few back bends, at this point, bring your hands to your hips again. Press from the hips down to the feet into the earth. Lengthen the spine. Maybe move the palms towards each other on the back of the wrist. And maybe with your thumbs, feel the back of the hips lengthening down. Use your shoulders and curling the chest a bit towards the sky here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then you can come back up to standing. And you can repeat that. Or bring the arms forward out in front of you. Palms face down, shoulders on the back. Press down to your feet, lift up the low back out of the hips, so feel the hips anchoring down, low back lifting up, and start to just curl your chest towards the sky. And this is like a standing version of upward facing dog or cobra, but you're just going to wherever you want to go. The arms in this position is not as stressful for the back as arms overhead by the ears, which is another way that this is commonly done, but it is more stressful than hands on the hips. So again, going to where works for you, and then coming all the way back up. And then inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. You might want to interlace the hands, turn the palms away, but then bend your elbows, maybe flip which hands you interlace with, and do the opposite side we did from earlier in class. Press down to the feet, into the hips, to the feet, to the earth. Feel the spine lifting up. And again, to lengthen the low back, maybe let the shoulders go up towards the ears. But if that doesn't feel good for you, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Breathe. Okay. And then go ahead and release the arms to the side with the knees as wide apart as your feet. Bend your knees, act like you're sitting back in a chair. Still nice long spine here. If you want, you can shift the weight back further in your heels and you can bend your knees a little bit more. And you keep lengthening the spine out of the hips. This is a little bit of a back bend sometimes too, or sometimes it's just spinal extension, depending. And then when you're ready, hands to your knees. Stretch the spine nice and long here. If you did come really low for Utkatasana, then lift up a little bit. And then forearms to your legs with a nice long spine here. Knees staying bent because this is just recovering after back bend. Breathe. And then from here with your knees bent, you can gently let the back round and fold forward. Nice full deep breaths. And then after a while, if you'd like to straighten the legs again, you could. But really, you might want to just keep your knees bent and release out the back for now. And you also might want to keep the knees bent and grab opposite elbows or do some of those things. But again, it just feels whatever feels good for you in this moment. Okay. And then when when you're ready, with a nice long spine, coming back to that Tadasana. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Anchoring from the hips down to the feet to the earth. Feel all 10 toes rooting down. Feel the arches of the feet lifting up. Feel the breath moving through you. On those exhales, feel that connection to the floor. On the inhales, feel an expansiveness, a fullness from inside out. Feel space between the vertebrae. Feel space for your organs. On the inhales, just feeling space from inside out. Feeling your fullness, your full self. And we will end with an Om. So if you'd like to, exhaling. Inhale.